Okay, it is roughly 7:30 a.m. and I had to come outside and try a design after I was thinking about it. So as I removed the tape from the pool noodle basically and got this piece out of here, and I was lining up the deflector on the top tray, it just kind of happened like this. And I thought, is that gonna fit in there? And the answer is yes. In between the chassis plate and the top plate, look at this. It's almost like it was meant to be there. Now I just have to move it back a little bit so we don't have that tire, of course, the tire rub. But if I'm able to seal up these PVC pipes, which aren't that heavy, and space them out properly where it's not rubbing on the bottom, then my steering is going to clear. We're going to reduce drag on the back tire because it basically brings the chassis all the way out to the tire until a very, very little amount there is exposed. If I did this on either side, like that, okay, that's generally there. And then I take two more that I made, do the same thing, seal up the ends for the stabilizers on the side. I wonder, even though it's starting to look more like a spaceship than anything, I wonder how the buoyancy and stability is going to be affected. This is called the evolution of the BUiLD, my friends. Some folks have been saying to me, oh, you totally, you've destroyed the off-road capability of your Toyota. Basically, Toyota is gone and you're left with a drift car. And you're right, but this project being ludicrous as it is, like I explained in the other films, all I need to do is to be able to go on the highway with it, in replication of their journey, go to the highway, into a boat ramp, and into the water, and away we go, and then to be able to come out again after our journey. So that is my goal, my friends, just so in case you were wondering, now you know. Oh yeah. That is what I needed. All right, my friends, I'm all cleaned up, ready to come back to work here. Hopefully you're following along with me so far. These are the new stabilizers I'm going to use on top. Just to show you how I cut the noodle, I painted the end of this one so you could see. And so I kind of took a slice out, folded it in on itself, and then put it so it could reach all the way down to the end of the tube. It's just kind of a type of silicone, so I can put it on the Gorilla Tape I already have laid out. I'm doing the basic gasket seal just for any kind of unevenness in the pipe itself. And then what I'm going to do is just let that dry. You'll see on the top of this one it's already been sealed as well. Shaking for about a good 40 seconds. All right, let's have a look at the back of this vehicle, okay? So this is where a lot of my scale details are going to appear, and I know a lot of people are going to want to know about the outboard engine or motor itself, so I'm going to go into some detail of it right now. Here I have removed the back of the electric outboard motor. You'll see I stuffed a ton of pool noodle into it because this back area is a complete empty chamber. So if you get any kind of water going in there, it'll start to fill up these two chambers and the motor becomes very, very heavy. So I decided instead to put the foam inside on this side. There is none in this area because I don't want any heat buildup. And you'll also see that I've got the cooling for the outboard motor all worked out. This does have a water pickup right above the propeller. This pickup goes up this tube right here into the water jacket for the brushless motor and pushes the water through forced water through the tube into the electronic speed control, which is the brain that will be talking to my radio, which is right there, telling the motor what to do. That water will continue to go straight through and through on the other side, still removing heat, and I'm gonna have the water exiting through a hole on the side of the actual back bed or the tray to expel all that hot water. All right, so I've attached this incredibly overpowered ESC, 120 amps, definitely way more than we'd ever need for most boats, but this is gonna be great for this. Very Jeremy Clarkson inspired. I've had it mounted with double-sided tape because one of the important things about the Toybota is that Jeremy was actually able to drive from the back. He was able to operate the outboard motor and steer it from the actual back. So let me show you something here. It's Fire Marshal Bill for all those that remember that. Fire Marshal Bill, yeah. This is a 1/10 scale Lexan oil pan for an SCX-10, which is an axial trail truck, much like the truck we started here. This is a trail finder too. I'm not sure if you could actually use this oil pan, but it was for an SCX. And if you flip it upside down, wouldn't you know it looks like a bloody seat? So I thought, great, it's very light. I already have the water cooling on, going on through here. What I'm gonna do is actually trim this out to go around the wires and around everything else and have it sit in here after I've painted it. And then, of course, then we're gonna have a seating area, and I want to put the steering in after this is in place. Now, the bonus is that I had 2 of these. I've already gone ahead, painted the other one that I had. Look at this, looks very, very good. Already cut it out, and it has the side flat pieces of where the mold was. Well, that can actually slide right underneath my back plate. So if I get the wires and everything in place, there you go. There is part of the seat. Now I'm going to use double-sided tape to put this down. I'm not worried about heat from the ESC, especially because of the amount of time that it'll be run, plus the water cooling. And move on to the next part, which is the cable-driven steering. You heard that right. Time for you to disappear for a while. Now I'm going to go along the edges and just push down on that double-sided tape, which is incredibly strong. The adhesion is fantastic. Get that out on an angle so it looks good from the side. I'm going to go ahead and just put the back of this outboard motor on again. Make sure I don't lose any of the tiny screws. And that's the thing, is that you can't have this motor below the water because it will take on the water, and that's why I've added the extra flotation on the inside. Because one way or the other, this thing will definitely take on some water. Hey, and you know what? If this project doesn't work, that's totally okay. Because I've been entertained the whole time. I think we're gonna have some great results. Either it's gonna float and be spectacular, or I'm gonna fail and it will be spectacular. And like that. There. Now all that hot water can be expelled from the side, and it kind of shoots up away from the truck a little bit. Okay, here's a final look at how the hot water expulsion tube is coming out of the side. Right in the O of rock armor, coming in underneath the Lexan. Very, very light seating arrangement I have here. Now let me say, this tube, I just went in and actually just did a little dab of glue on the inside. It'll be easy to remove. I still have full range of motion here now, as you can see. And everything, of course, is still just part of the body itself, right? So I can remove that at any time and still have access to the inside of the actual truck kit. Now I did work on the bumper a little bit more, as you can see. A little more molded, a little more in the shape that I like. Also, I went in and painted a lot of the pool noodle that was still exposed, except for the middle piece. I'm not really too concerned about that. But from the back of the vehicle, now you can't see that there is a piece covering the diff. Do you remember on my Capo Ace 1 it had cable-driven steering. Well, this is the same idea. This is actually a capo piece. This is an extra one I had from the BUiLD. This was an upgrade piece for farther throw on the steering. This pulley actually goes onto the servo itself. So where's the servo? Right over here. This is a Traxxas 2075X. I've got one little tab broken there, but not a big deal. That is how the pulley goes onto the servo. Okay, I went into my local hobby shop at Action there and picked up a servo tray that's basically for an aileron for an airplane. And the reason I did this is so I could mount the servo itself to the back box all the way back here, like this. I'll show you. Slide the cable in first. And then ta-da, just like that. Then I can mount it on the wall at any height that I like for that cable-driven steering. All right, the servo itself, now that everything's in place, would fit like this in the bracket. Just got to move it a little bit. There we go. Okay, next I have to thread the cable into the pulley itself. I got all this silicone goop all over me, so forgive me. But that's the next step, basically. And then it will fit on such as that. Okay, so here's the cable I'm using. It is much like a shifting cable on a bicycle, you know, just a small threaded cable. I've gone to 50% of the cable and I just put a very small crimp in it. You'll notice right here there are 2 holes and then 2 holes on the outside of the holes. So the ends of the cable, they're going to be sliding through the pulley, doing my best not to fray the ends of the cable, and pulling it down to the 50% mark. Oh, did I do that right? Yes, I did. Good. Right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a quick wrap around, like a bend and a turn. Being careful not to hurt the wire. And start to wrap it around that pulley. Just kind of giving it a bit of a memory here. So if you look closely, and it's hard to tell, but basically we're getting an under, over, under. And then to finish it off, do the same on the other side, which is very confusing. But basically, I've got my cable locked into place, going through those holes and being bent around the outside, and then equal on either side. Some heat shrink tube. I'm going to go ahead and stick the spring tube in to the shrink tube all the way to the end. Then I'm going to take a heat gun and just shrink all the heat tube to that actual spring. Also, I should have put the servo in a lower spot because the problem I'm having right now is that the cables actually don't, since they're on an angle, they actually come off the spool a little bit. So I may be forced into moving this whole steering servo down a little bit. All right, let's see here. Now we're going to want it fairly taut on both sides. And really, I should be setting this only when the electronics are in. So I'm just going to lightly put the holders in place, because I'm going to want to center that servo, this one up here, before I do anything else. But in the meantime, I don't want to lose these little grub screws, so let's keep them in place where they're supposed to be done. Or set screws, whatever you guys call them in your area. There we are, and then 2 on the other side. So now that I have the back basically figured out for steering the motor, powering the motor, water cooling the motor, I can remove this whole back tray with everything inside. And then I'm going to install the 2 flotation devices that I showed you earlier. Okay, breaking out the Dremel, what I've done here now, so you can see, if I kind of get you in a little bit closer, you're gonna see one mark here, possibly a mark here, and there is two down here lower. The reason I'm doing this is so I can put those pontoons on, basically, with some Velcro strapping instead of using the Gorilla Tape, which is, you know, it would work just fine, but I think will look a little bit better with the Velcro. Okay, strap number one, pontoon number one. How does it fit? A little bit back. Just scratched the paint a little bit, that's okay. Clearance in the back tire needs to be forward just a bit more. Good, full steering, full clearance on the back tire. Don't be sliding around, I want you to be straight down at the bottom. And then just tighten that strap. Now I'm gonna leave the strap long for now until I'm absolutely sure that's where it's gonna go. But now, as you can see, the pontoon is attached to the side and will act as a good deflector for the water as it's going around. Hard to see with the matte black, but that looks so much better, hey? And that's not even the top stabilizer yet. So I'm gonna put the other side on. I cannot believe it is already 4:30 in the afternoon. Check it out, guys. You got to see the internal cooling system, the ESC placement. Also, you got to see the setup of the beginning of the inside of the back tray here with the seat, the cable-driven steering that I've got. This is the 2S LiPo. You see we have quite a bit of clearance there, no rubbing. This is only part of what I'm going to do. I want to finish this in the next episode, as well as hook up the new receiver I have. So I'm going to be able to run everything. Now notice, everything here is completely separate from this part of the vehicle. We have the truck part. Look at the pontoons, my friends. Did those turn out pretty awesome or what? Nice and slick, sleek looking. Totally, I think we're going to get some better flotation. The work I did on the actual bumper, even though it also looks a little uneven, it is pretty darn close. And I think we're going to get a lot of good action out of this particular tribute to the BBC's Toybota, done by Top Gear and Jeremy and Richard and James. And guys, thanks a lot. Are you still with me? I know this build is crazy. A lot of you are asking even, why are you even doing this? And because it's silly and it's absurd, and so is RC and so is life. You should be out there having fun, building the stuff you want, doing the stuff you want, having fun. And I hope this build is so far inspiring you and showing you that you can really do anything you put your mind to doing. So I got a lot of work to do still. I'm gonna sign off for today, but guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Share the video, subscribe, hit that notify button. Become an RC adventurer today. Keep up to date on this Toybota. We're almost at 1 billion total video views. We're super stoked here at the studio, and we hope this project is epic enough to really celebrate such a cool event. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. You know I was teasing. There you go. At least you get a look at it a little bit.